and EBITDA is EPS divided by 1 minus tax rate plus depreciation plus interest. People estimate what EPS is. It is not that difficult to make projections of what the future depreciation and interest are going to be because they don't vary too much from the historical patterns. So if you have estimates of EPS and you already know price, let's say I have two companies. I'm gonna Star is my reference company. My other company is P plus all that other stuff. So the price that is implied by EV over EBITDA can be easily solved using that equation. This way, we don't have to deal with a lot of dirty stuff. We don't have to worry about leverage. We don't have to worry about the financials of their accounting practices. We don't have to worry about the financials about their investment strategies and hence depreciation. And we don't have to worry about their different taxation policies or tax saving policies. So you're essentially comparing the worth of the operating part of the business. Remember, EV is an approximation to the market value of the operating assets. You don't worry about all that other stuff. The core of the company's business. You make the uh, valuation based on that. All right. Let's stop here. Tuesday, I'm going to post your chapter 6 lectures. This time I'm going to do the lecture myself, but most of the chapter is basic reading. But I'm going to do a little lecture on bond pricing. I'm going to introduce a bond pricing template that you can use. You don't have to, but you can use to make bond price calculations. I'll do a little lecture on real versus nominal. I'll do a real lecture on how bonds are traded, things like accrued interest or the clean price. And I'll do another little lecture on the yield curve and stuff. But there's a lot of good reading, different types of bonds. Please read them. So you'll get your quizzes and lectures Friday morning. They are due, there won't be any extension anymore, by class time on Tuesday. And given all this cold stuff, I am in, again, forgiving mood. All attendance issues, including today, are forgiven. So we're going to create a new page starting on Tuesday. All the days that you had until now, I'm going to count as if you were here, whether you were here or not. Go ahead. Who's talking? 6, chapter 6, bonds and interest rates, or interest rates on bonds, whatever the title says, which is not important. But your little lecture videos, especially on the quant parts, and the quizzes are going to be posted on Friday morning. Make sure you also look at the individual problem videos, okay? Because it shows you how to do. Sorry? Go ahead. No, 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 go ahead. You were asking a question. Yes, yes. And they are due next Tuesday. Tuesday, we're going to have in-class discussion about that. You know how that goes. You know, individual and group participation. And Thursday, we'll do Jeopardy on chapter 6. Yes. Just a second. I'm talking to someone in class. Yeah. Um, Yeah, I gave you guys leeway. I did about 15 seconds. Yeah, instead of 1 or 2 seconds I usually do. Because some of you have done 10 minutes or so. That's too much. I mean, you basically know what the answer is by then. You cannot. But the first day I gave you guys a minimum of 80%. So even if you scored 50 that day, that was bumped to 80. Okay. And on those of you who weren't here on the second Jeopardy day, since I am forgiving, your zeros for that day are going to be erased. You will just get 0 attempts that day. So your zero is going to be multiplied by 0 instead of some other number. Okay. It's typical. Let's say we did 15 questions that day. Normally, you get zeros from 15 questions if you're not here without an excuse. But since I have forgiven, you'll get 0 from 0 questions, which gives you zeros, a lot of zeros. It's essentially you're exempt from that. But starting next week, that's not going to happen. If you are not here and you have a valid excuse, it is upon you to let me know and document it. Okay. I'm a little bit more forgiving in regular days, but I'm not that forgiving on Jeopardy days. Some of you, I'm not going to name names, have a kind of a habit of being sick exactly on Jeopardy days, but no days else. I mean, it's cold and other stuff happens, so it happens. I get it. But if you haven't participated in any of the Jeopardy the whole semester, they're going to have issues. Okay. But if you document it, I get no problem with that. And on Jeopardy days, I am not going to take your vote. On other days, depending upon the issues, I may. If somebody says, my grandma died, on Jeopardy day, I'm going to want to see the obituary. On regular days, I say, all right, go ahead, don't worry about it. All right? I had students in the past, it didn't happen at EKU, but when I was a teaching assistant back at Boston College, I had one student who killed 3 grandmothers in one semester. I said, you better prove me that, 2 of them are lesbians. Otherwise, I'm not going to accept that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Not even in early 90s. I mean, if you kill 2 grandmothers in a semester, that's kind of a red flag. Okay. I may be naive enough or forgiving enough to believe the first one, but even I'm not that stupid to believe in the second one without actual documentation. All right. If you treat me with respect, I'm going to return that to you 10 times. I mean, you can disrespect me. I don't care. But, if you treat me as if I'm an idiot, then I'm going to show you that I'm not. I don't have to. Typically, when you were going there, I was on my 10th round trip back. I've done these things in the past. In high school, just for the hell of it, I designed and implemented mass cheating schemes, just for the hell of it. Nobody failed or went to summer school in our high school because of my cheating schemes. But I've seen that as a kind of a challenge. You know, how do you actually rise up against the system? I know it was stupid, but hey, we're talking about when I was between 14 and 17. We do a lot of stupid crap at that age. All right. Remember, as long as you guys do your assignments, show up, I always find a way to pass you. In fact, typically the question is, are you going to get an A or a B? Unless you do really poorly on the assignments, then you get a C. But if you do the assignments, I'm not going to fail you. I'll figure out a way to pass you. I haven't, this is my 20th year here, 40th semester, not including summers. And I've taught this class in probably at least 60 sections. I have not, including summers, maybe 80. I have not failed a single student who did the assignments. But if you don't do the assignments, I cannot give you a partial if there's nothing in front of me. All right? So do the assignments. If there are issues if they're late, you may get a little bit less, but you'll be fine. So don't worry about failing the class as long as you do the work. Worry about whether you're going to get an A or a B. All right? All right. I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Go ahead. Oh, yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, they're not going to change. Those quizzes are what I call formative quizzes. It does not matter to me whether you take it a million times or once. Basically, as a result of this, the hope, the target is you come to class knowing something about what we're going to talk about. That is the point of those quizzes. Then in the class, we expand on it. Instead of me reading you the PowerPoints, we actually talk about salient issues. Jeopardy is another way of doing homework at school. That's it. After all of those, you'll be just ready for the final exam. I even did a study on this. I haven't published it yet. I had two classes last fall, two of these classes. In one of them, I did Jeopardy, in the other one, I didn't. The class with the Jeopardy did much better in quizzes, on chapter quizzes. And those were not even, those were after lectures and stuff. 2455. Doesn't matter, you're late, but it's forgiven today anyway, so that's all right. I'm not even gonna upload it. I'm gonna delete all the responses until today. And then I already written this. You too. Bye bye. I've already written the code so that it's attending attends great stuff automatically. I don't even have to do anything.